Hi, I'm Sam of Stitchy Sam here on Flosstubers, but also on Instagram. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel if you've been here before, and welcome if you're new. Today I'm going to go through March Madness. We're now into the final round. But how did we get there? What I'm going to do today is talk you through the quarterfinals and then into the semi-finals. But first, I just want to thank all of you, massive thank you to all of you that voted on my Instagram page. It's been really exciting, really interesting to see what everyone voted for and what the outcomes were. So let's get to it, shall we? Now, March Stitchy Madness is the brainchild of the Steel City Stitchers. And I've also been following lots of other stitchers that have been involved in March Stitchy Madness and met some really great people, in particular Stitchy Laney. We've been voting on each other's whips and also just encouraging each other and getting to know each other. So thank you Laney, that's been amazing. So we started with 8 amazing whips that I chose that were close-ish to a finish. I'm not sure if any of them will actually get finished this month, but it'd be interesting to see if the eventual winner does get that. So we're now just down to 2, and as I said, we've had the quarterfinals and we've also had the semi-finals. So what I'll do is I'll show you the ones as they're knocked out. So the first matchup was between Hello Holly and Sally Squirrel. So I'll show you what they would both look like here. And I predicted that Spring Rabbit, it's Hello Holly versus Spring Rabbit. I predicted that Spring Rabbit would get through, and it did, and it was actually a light landslide for that one, with Hello Holly only getting 12% of the final vote, with Spring Rabbit getting their 88%. So Hello Holly is here. This is a sal that it's an informal sal that I'm stitching with my friend Max Cathy. She's over on Instagram. But because of March Madness and other things, I'm falling behind a little bit on this design. So it's a design by Caterpillar Cross Stitch, and it's of a tree with all sort of like winter and Christmassy sort of like themes. Okay, so I think you can see that if sorry for the reflections, I'm in the conservatory today. That's probably the best. So yeah, so that's Hello Holly. I'm really excited to do some more of that in April time, even though that sadly got knocked out in the first round. But just getting it out there and seeing it, and really love that. So that's on 14 count Ada. It's Zweigart, but I'm really bad at pronouncing the actual name of the fabric. It's Celadon, I think. And the needle minder is also by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. So absolutely love this design. And I love all the colours especially. So just quickly fold that up and pop it back in the bag. Yeah, so it's finally a bit sunny and it feels like spring's on its way here in the UK, even though there is talk about a cold snap next week. So, but it is lovely to finally see the sun after quite a long and wet sort of winter time, really. So the next matchup was Made to Create and Australia Adventures. So this was really the battle of two Caterpillar Cross Stitch designs. Don't worry, I do stitch a lot more than just Caterpillar Cross Stitch. It just so happens that these all seem to be potentially getting towards a completion. And I predicted for this one that Australia Adventures would win. However, this was really tight. In fact, it couldn't have been tighter. It was 50%, 50%. So we had a dead heat. Now what I decided, in the event of a dead heat, that my son, who also does a little bit of cross stitch, would make the final decision. And I didn't sway him at all, and he decided that he wanted Made to Create to go through. So that meant that Australia Adventures sadly had to go away, got knocked out. So here is where I am so far. So there we go. Oh, I'll hold it back here. Yeah, so you can see I stitched down here, finished stitching the koala bear and done this possum, and I'm going on to this building here. So all I've got to do is the rest is sort of like the east coast of Australia, and there's also New Zealand down here as well. So I think that one's fairly close to a finish, and I'm aiming to finish that one this year. We'll see how that goes, because last year I said I was going to finish it last year. But hey ho. So that's on 16 counts Wygard light blue Ada, and as I said before, that is by Caterpillar Cross Stitch, that design. Okay, so the next matchup was Bookshelf 2023, sorry, against Frogs Kissing. Now, I thought the Frogs would win, but no. The Bookshelf won 60% to 40%. So here's the Frogs in this huge project bag, or whip bag as I affectionately call them. It's quite reflective, particularly in this conservatory situation. And this design is by Heaven and Earth Designs. It was a sale back in 2015, and yes, I know, should have finished it long before now. It's only a small full coverage, but until I had Pattern Keeper and my Lowry stand, I found it really hard to follow. There is a lot of confetti in it, and this is where I am so far. So it's at 76%. So I'm just working through using Royal Rose with lots of park threads. I'll try and get this closer, and hopefully you can see that, and it's not too washed out. It probably looks really washed out because of all the sunlight. Oh, that, I think that's better. Yeah, that's better, so you can see. Actually looks better on camera than it does in real life. No, they both, it looks fine in real life as well. Yeah, it looks gorgeous. To be honest, I can't wait until I do get this finished, because I don't fully finish a lot of my full coverages, but I think this one I have to, just because it's tongue-in-cheek as well, that stitchers always joke about the frog coming, which, for those that don't know, that's sort of unpicking or frogging, comes from the sound of removing stitches, rip it, or ribbit. It's my best frog impression. So that one was knocked out. Boom. So the final matchup was between Sally Squirrel and the Melika Mystery Sal, which is currently running in the early part of this year. And I thought that Sally Squirrel would win hands down, but actually Melika, sorry, I'm just checking my notes, it was another tie, it was another draw, 50-50, 50%, 50%. So, and actually that was way tighter than I thought it was going to be. I thought Sally Squirrel would run away with that. However, my son had a look at the two designs, and he decided he wanted to see more of the Sal. So Sally Squirrel was knocked out. So here is Sally Squirrel. She is a Gecko Rouge design, and she's stitched on 25 count Magic Guide, but she's also a Sal from 2015. Obviously I took on too much that year in terms of full coverage Sals, and again I'm using the Royal Rose method this is, so it's from Gecko Rouge, so it's with the threads that they provide. And I actually had a nightmare with this when I was stitching this time around. I couldn't find one of my ball tip needles, so I thought I would just use one that I had in my stash. It ended up that actually it was a sharp type needle, and I just I couldn't get the white threads to like lay flat. I couldn't find where it was next to be going, and I can see I've just left something hanging. I didn't stitch very many stitches at all in this area here, just of the chest and at the top of what is an acorn which she is holding. So that's Sally Squirrel. I'm hoping to get back to her soon because I still feel like she didn't get enough of a run out that time. One day on a full coverage never seems enough. I don't, just to put it in context, I work full time and have a busy family life. So I don't get much time in the evenings to stitch in. So I get around sort of like 2 hours stitching if I'm lucky in the evening time. So it just depends on what's happening family wise and whether my son wants me to read him a story, etc., and do all of the family stuff. So that's the quarterfinalists. Okay, so I've got them here. I mean, the semi-finalists, we know now that we've got Made to Create by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. We've got Spring Rabbit. We've also got Bookshelf 23, which is by Stitching Cabin, and the Melika Mystery Sal. So the first semi-final was Made to Create versus Spring Rabbit. Now I thought Rabbit would win hands down, no problems, but you really surprised me this time. I don't know why the votes are going for it, but you seem to love Made to Create. So that has gone through to the final with 62% of the votes versus 38% for the Rabbit. Now, this Rabbit, I just had so much fun stitching this in like the beginning of spring, and I finally got the first daffodil outline in there. So I finished the snowdrop, put the back stitching around it, which really gives it a lot of definition, I think. And I thought I would put in the outline of the first daffodil, and I've also put some of the green in up here. I just honestly can't wait to get this back out again, and it may have to make an appearance in April, even if it's not picked for Whip Go board. I really hope it is. So that's probably going to stay in the frame for now because I just love it so much. And I've probably already shown you what it looks like, but there's the bag there. It's not actually called Spring Rabbit, it's called Eva Rossenstand, a Clara Weaver design. And it's just so cute, so seasonal. I thought that would win. Obviously it didn't. So Made to Create is now through to the final. And the second semi-final was Bookshelf 2023 versus the Melika Mystery Sal. Now I thought the Bookshelf would run away with this because it's getting closer and closer to a finish. You can see some definition now. I'm doing a lot of back stitch on that one. However, it did not run away with it. It did win though, with 56% to Melika Mystery Sal with 45%. So I can show you how far I've got. The Melika Sal is split into 6 parts. This is part 1. Part 2 has come out. Sorry, there we go. Has come out. Part 2, part 3 comes out this week. But what I'm going to do is with both of my sales, I'm going to focus on those in April to try and catch up with both of them, or at the very least get them towards a finish, or yeah, for this one. So any guesses that you have for what this creature might be, please feel free to say. I think it's a rabbit because the fabric is quite long. There's a lot more up here, long and thin. I got a feeling that it's going to be a rabbit with long thin ears, but the neck, I'm not sure that looks, which is the second part, looks like a rabbit's neck. But again, I may very well be wrong. Either that or a llama maybe, but more progress on that I'm hoping in April. So Melika sadly didn't make the cut for the final. So we have our 2 finalists, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to be stitching them on this week, week commencing the 23rd of March 2026. So if you want to vote, or you want to just see my progress, please join me over on Instagram. That would be great. And also please subscribe and like this post to try and share this with the rest of the community. Really appreciate that if you could. So I'm going to show you where I've got up to so far, bearing in mind that these have gone through a quarterfinal and the final. So the first one I'm going to show you is Made to Create. So I'm really, it does look lovely. It's lots and lots of creases, so I'll try and show it as best I can. So the idea is it's just using crafting tools. The sun's moved. The crafting tools to make the words create, sorry. So we've got all the letters apart from the C, which goes here, and finishing off the R there. Funny story, well, not funny story. I had to, if I just fold this over, the bottom of the skein of thread or floss here I had almost completed, but then I realized that I'd miscounted due to this being on linen. I think it's 28 count linen provided by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. So I'm doing two over 2, and I had, because the weave was so close together, I thought that's going to look like a tiny thread, but actually once I put them in correctly, they don't look that tiny. That's that row of white there, the bottom row. So I unpicked that, and then I had a hoof, so I did some of the paintbrush. But because I spent the stitching session frogging or unpicking, as I've mentioned before, I decided to give it another hour the next day to complete where it ought to have been, and actually it probably should have been a bit further along anyway. So that's one of the other reasons why I didn't think it would get picked to go through to the final, but it has, so that's amazing. And the other one going through to the final is my Bookshelf 2023. Now this design is by the Stitching Cabin. My friend Manx Kathy saw this and thought of me because she knows that I love reading as well as cross stitching. So this is stitched on a piece of fabric by Megan at Coffee Craft Fabrics. there's no name for her fabrics. I just thought that this grey would just give it sort of like a modern interior sort of feeling. So the books each represent one of the books that I read in 2023, and the colours tell you what sort of genre the books are in. So that's 18 count Ada, by the way, and it's using CXC threads. I don't use CXC threads for many of my designs, but this is one of them. So I've finished these books. I've started stitching on the plant pot and the leaves there, and I've started on the next shelf down with putting a book there. So in the final, I'm hoping to finish this row of books and to do lots more backstitch here and perhaps down this side as well. But I'm trying to make it interesting for you for when you vote, and do all the boring outline backstitching of the bookcase for when we're not in the competition mode. So as I said, voting will start on Tuesday the 24th of March. That's going to be around about the sort of like 10 p.m. Great British time. I know that there's like a specific neck phrase for that. So yes, so it's going to be late there, but it will be up for 24 hours to be confirmed. The finalists will be confirmed on the evening of the 25th. And what will happen then is that the winner will get an additional 2 days stitching to see how they progress. And I will be showing you all in my next update, my regular floss tube. I do a monthly update video every month. So if you're interested in following that, please subscribe so you don't miss that, miss my next update. And just wanted to really thank you all again for voting and for joining me today on this bright and sunny day. And I hope you could have seen all of the lovely stitching that I have been doing over the last couple of weeks. So in the meantime, happy stitching.